Movie friends, welcome back to the channel doing another reaction. This is going to be for another Dead Meat video. Actually, I had posted the original one he did like the other day on Friday the 13th, his kill count for Friday the 13th, the original 1980 classic. He actually did a recount, and people were telling me, oh, you need to react to it like right now. And I'm like, okay, I'll go ahead and do that for you guys. So, of course, if you like this type of content, hit the like button, subscribe to the channel if you're new to the channel, and share the content and help us get bigger. We're aiming for 5,000 by the end of August. It probably won't happen, but you know, hey, we did our best. So thank you guys so much for all your support. Really appreciate it. So on the count of three, we're gonna press play and get into this guy his video. So 3, 2, 1.
Welcome to the Kill Count, where we tally up the victims in all our favorite horror movies, and learn a lot about them too. I'm James A. Janice, and today we're once again looking at the original Friday the 13th, released in 1980. When I launched Dead Meat in 2017, I chose to begin the Kill Count with the Friday the 13th franchise. On April 7th, I released the very first episode of this show, where I looked at a low-budget slasher that would change the horror genre forever. Since then, I've made nearly 300 episodes of the Kill Count, and in that time, the show has evolved dramatically. It is now a much more informative and celebratory production, free of the cynicism and speed-talking that were signatures of my earliest episodes. It made sense for me to start the channel with Friday the 13th, and because I did, I was lucky enough to see Dead Meat grow real big real fast.
Yeah,
now
man,
I want to go back and give this historic franchise its proper due. My original episodes were cursory, and while charming, somewhat shallow. It's time to give Friday the 13th the 5-star Kill Count treatment. That's because no other franchise has shaped the horror genre quite like Friday has. When people think of horror movies, they think of Friday the 13th. Maybe not by name, but they're probably picturing a hulking killer in a hockey mask slaughtering scantily clad teenagers. There was a Friday the 13th movie released in 8 of the 10 years of the 80s, right as the horror genre was becoming better known in mainstream pop culture. The tropes of the franchise became the tropes of the genre.
Its weaknesses Friday the 13th kind of started helping evolve it.
To date, 12 Friday the 13th movies have been released, all of them theatrically, and most of them successful at the box office. For better or worse, this franchise is the genre's standard bearer, and holding the flag high is the ghoulish goalie, Jason Voorhees. Jason is so infamous, he often just goes by his first name, and he's known to anyone who pays attention to pop culture, even if they've never seen a horror film before. Sure, they might have some inaccurate assumptions about him. Most commonly, he's erroneously depicted with a chainsaw instead of his trademark machete. I'm guessing that comes from some sort of mental merging with Leatherface, seeing as how Jason has only ever been attacked by a chainsaw before. He's never wielded one himself. Despite the occasional misconception, though, Jason is still probably the best-known horror movie killer. And yet, he's not the killer in the film that started his franchise. This fun fact was widely disseminated.
I'd say a lot of people love Michael Myers too, just pretty close to being
how
equal.
horror's most infamous murderer didn't show up looking like himself until the 3rd movie in the series. The original film is a bit of a whodunit and reveals its killer after 70 minutes of first-person shots that it lifted from Halloween, and which was done in Black Christmas even before that, but
I love Black
to
Christmas.
give that movie the credit it deserves. In any case, it was Halloween that producer Sean S. Cunningham asked writer Victor Miller to imitate. And I don't mean just a little bit.
No, he
Sean
literally
called
told
me
him.
up and said, Halloween is making incredible money at the box office, let's rip it off. That is keeping it real.
After producing Wes Craven's Last House on the Left in 1972, Cunningham found himself making unsuccessful kids films with Miller and producer Steve Miner. He figured horror was the best way to make something profitable and set out to do it with nothing more than a title, Friday the 13th.
I didn't know what the movie was going to be.
No.
But the idea of the title intrigued me.
Motherfucker put an ad in Variety calling it the most terrifying film ever made, even though he didn't have a script or story yet. And the damnedest thing is, that worked. A trio of shady theater owners from Boston were so impressed by the ad, they gave Cunningham $500,000 to make his movie. As with their Little League Kids films, Cunningham directed and produced Friday, while Miller wrote the screenplay. A legal battle of rights between these two is the reason the franchise hasn't had a new film in a dozen years, even while other series see resurrections and revivals.
Just get over it.
can't get into the weeds of that lawsuit here, but it is why the video game stopped being updated. Damn shame. That game was great. Unlike this movie,
I agree.
I might get some shit for this, but as important as this movie is to the genre and me personally, I think it's pretty bad. And I'm not alone. Betsy Palmer knew what was up.
He sent me the script, I read it, and I said, what a piece of shit.
Oh my god, she said that sitting right next to Vic Miller. Though Palmer later came around to the film, her initial assessment was right. Friday the 13th is a plodding bore that doesn't do anything better than slashers made before or since. In fact, I think it makes the subgenre look bad.
I love it.
There's
Don't
a
get me wrong,
litany of other slashers that are better made or more entertaining, or both. In this first Friday film, scenes drag on forever, with all the urgency of an Italian neo-realist film. That's the genre so slow that its most famous movie is 90 minutes of a dude looking for his dog. I honestly think the only reason this movie got famous is because of its great marketing and because it did a good job combining parts taken from other horror films. Because Halloween wasn't the only one that Friday ripped off.
Sean was very insistent that we borrow from Hitchcock.
Regardless, a lot of people fucking love this franchise.
Yeah.
I can respect that.
I worked with somebody who had a tattoo.
Series. These movies are dependable, almost blue collar in a way. You know what you're gonna get with them every single time. Plus, there are some things, even in this first one, that are genuinely great. The name, which does kick ass. The music by Harry Manfredini. The late injection of energy, courtesy of Ms. Betsy Palmer. And of course, the thing this channel was built upon, and the one place where Friday blows Halloween away, the kills and makeup effects infamously done by Tom Savini. How many were there? Well, I told you once before, but it's always good to go back and double check your work. Let's get to the kills.
Okay, sweet. All right, here we go.
The movie begins at Camp Crystal Lake in 1958. This cold open that takes place in the past was another thing Miller took directly from Halloween. As a shaky point of view shot checks in on their checker-playing young charges, the camp counselors strum guitars and sing Bible tunes by the fire. Hallelujah. Claudette and Barry both get horny for Jesus, so they clasp each other's Christ-loving hands and sneak away for some barn attic fool-arounds. Things are getting real sexy on that potato sack when the first-person intruder happens upon them.
We weren't doing
the same
anything.
potato sack Jason used as his
An
mask
off-screen
in part 2.
stab leaves a bloody wound in Barry's gut and gives us the first ever kill of the Friday the 13th franchise. Claudette, despite being a box thrower, also meets her end when the camera comes at her face in choppy slow-mo and kills her with a freeze frame. After the screen flashes to white,
first kills aren't great. They're decent. They're alright.
Title card! Oh, damn it, broke the mirror. The opening credits are painfully plain, just white Helvetica-looking font against a black background. It's shocking they'd stick to the style as long as they did, but I guess it allows you to enjoy Harry Manfredini's score. Although it's pretty similar to Bernard Herrmann's Psycho score, I maintain that Manfredini's music and sound design was essential to Friday the 13th's success. It's now present day, which for this movie means 1979. Annie Phillips is trying to get to Camp Crystal Lake, but everyone in town gives her dirty looks for bringing the place up.
Camp Blood. They're opening that place again?
Hell yeah they are, lady, which has got the town's eccentric Crazy Ralph wilding out.
Never come back again. Oh, shut up, Ralph.
Nah, you don't need to shut up, Ralph. Say whatever you want, my bucket hat wearing friend.
It's got a death curse.
Yeah, death curses and shit. That's better than the type of shit Enos the truck driver be saying.
All the girls up there gonna look as good as you?
Oh, man. And watch the hands, Enos. Come on. If Enos' voice sounds familiar, by the way, might be because actor Rex Everhart voiced freaking Maurice in Beauty and the Beast.
A horrible, monstrous beast.
So I guess this town's got two crazy old men in it.
Crazy old Maurice.
Enos reluctantly drives Andy towards the camp, telling her all about its past
He
troubles,
was a bit creepy. I'll give it that. Yeah, he was.
Tragic accident.
Boy drowning in 57?
Since then, there have been fires and water poisoning, but Annie swears she'll be okay, so he drops her off and wishes her well. Later, Annie's picked up by an unseen driver who speeds past the camp's turnoff and brings in the Manfredini.
Hey, wasn't that the road up for Camp Crystal Lake back there?
With the killer unseen for most of the film, Manfredini used the music as a stand-in and signifier. When you heard it, you knew the killer was there. He was inspired by a similar use of the shark theme in Jaws. To escape that music to murder by,
it's cool they got all these inspirations, you know, from great films.
By her actor Robbie Morgan. And he takes off into the woods and is pursued by the vehicle driver, who eventually catches up
hell of
to
a
her
head
and
dive,
slits her throat against a tree. Those cold open kills were deceptively tame. Now we're getting the full Savini. For this effect, Savini used a mold of rock Robbie Morgan's neck to make a rubber prosthetic she wore over a blood tube that ran up her sleeves. Love the way the prosthetic slits open
It
when
looks
Robbie
good.
Morgan moves her jaw. Tom Savini was 26
yeah.
years old when Cunningham sought him out based on his work in Dawn of the Dead. He was one of the first people hired and was essential to bringing Friday to life. I think his contributions are right up there with Sean Cunningham, producer Steve Miner, and Vic Miller. Looks like Andy won't be able to cook for Camp Crystal Lake's
Made the kills
reopening,
memorable.
which is headed by this dude who's gonna hurt his back chopping wood that way. This mustachioed man is Steve Christie, and he's hired a bunch of teens to be his counselors, some of whom arrive backed by a peculiar music choice that seems completely out of place in the series. Seriously, where did that bluegrass come from? And more importantly, where does it go? Steve Christie's favorite employee is Alice Hardy, played by Adrienne King.
I had a
She's
crush
a
on her.
capable handy woman and artist, which wins her special attention from Steve and his jorts. Yeah, I'm not a body language expert or nothing, but something tells me she's not a fan of that face caressing. Steve heads into town, leaving his merry band
was
of
creepy.
counselors behind. Since there are future meatbags for the skill count, let's meet them. And don't worry, it won't take long. They're not that deep. They were meant to be down-to-earth kids next door types, which is why casting
there to be
directors
killed,
Julie
really.
Hughes and Barry Moss hired New York stage actors, as opposed to more screen-seasoned actors from LA. Brenda's the responsible one, making her a target of the camp goofster Ned, whose pranks range from the dangerous to the deceptive
that was
to the Dan
stupid.
Snyder-esque.
Like,
The
it doesn't matter
super
how
sexy
good your
horny
aim is, you should
couple
never
Jack
do
and
that.
Marcy. Jack, of course, played by Kevin Bacon. By this point, Bacon had had a part in Animal House, but he had gone back to waiting tables in New York before he was cast in Friday. He'd later go on to huge fame after starring in Footloose, but unfortunately, I've never seen him in any Friday the 13th special features. What, you too good for horror, Kevin? There's also Bill, who's kind of another
Well, I
love
guess he
interest
wants to
for
do,
Alice,
Freddy
but
Krueger.
He's pretty much a nothing guy.
So-
Most interesting thing about him
Hell yeah.
is that he's played by Bing Crosby's son, Harry, and that it's really him playing guitar in a later scene.
Oh, that's kind of cool. I didn't know that. That is neat. Okay.
That's
Wow.
a tasty lick, brah. Most of Act 1 is these kids doing random shit around the camp. Friday was filmed over 7 weeks in the fall of 1979
Love the shots
at
of
an
the camp.
actual Boy Scout
It's great
camp
stuff.
called Novi Bosco in Blairstown, New Jersey. I actually own a piece of the doc used in this movie, since Chelsea got it for me after I started
That's
Dead Meat.
crazy,
Thanks,
man.
hon. Unlike in my original video, I'm not gonna show the footage of when they killed the real-life snake. I only mention it because it's a well-known oddity of the film, and because the story behind it pisses me off, so I've got a rant for a minute. Turns out that snake wasn't just a random one they found and killed. It was a snake performer and pet owned by a guy who didn't know they were going to kill it. Savini asked to borrow it, and they packed it
Wow.
up without warning. What the fuck is that about, man? That's fucked up, Tom.
That-
the counselor's last
that is a
summertime
bit fucked up.
experience is a pop-up pantry visit from Crazy Ralph.
That-
He
I did not
prattles
know
on
that.
about
That
how doomed
makes
they
the
are
situation
before
just
peacing out the
10
front
times
door and
worse.
speed walking away.
Wow, I'm kind of blown away by that. What a dick move.
You know what? I changed my mind.
You didn't
Shut
even
up,
tell him you
Ralph.
were
As
planning
the sun
on-
begins to set in an
Planning on
unusually
killing it?
beautiful shot for this
Hope he
film,
paid him
all
his
of
money.
Jack and Marcy's
At least.
lakeside
At
grab ass
least.
causes Ned to grow jealous and sad.
Well, that
He
kinda
sees
boils
an
me a little
unknown
bit.
person walk into a cabin, and after following them inside, is never seen alive again. Guess he's gonna miss the
like that.
incoming thunderstorm.
That was a
which
creepy
is just
death.
film lights being flashed on and off, and some strangely sincere acting from Kevin Bacon.
It's gonna storm. You can tear down that valley like a son of a gun.
Excuse me, sir, what kind of movie do you think you're in right now? The storm moves over the lake in more shots that I legitimately enjoy.
Always
as we
treat your
begin this
always
long
treat your
night at
roles
Camp
with
Blood,
respect, you know?
which was Victor Miller's
It's a job.
original title for his script. Jack and Marcy take refuge inside a cabin,
I have fun
which
with
is
this
the
movie.
perfect place to flash some butt crack and get to business. Yeah, it's horny o'clock here on Crystal Lake, because the other counselors are starting up a game of strip Monopoly. Not joining the others for this camp-wide horny o'clock meeting? Ned, who's dead, baby. We see him with his throat slit in the top bunk above Jack and Marcy. So, you know that trope about how sex gets you killed in a horror movie? That thing was hammered home in the Friday the 13th franchise,
Yeah.
which is why after Marcy leaves to wash up, we get a classic post-coital kill. Jack lights up a J that
Makes
feels
sense,
some
though.
blood
Jason
dripping
died
from
because
above.
people
A
were
nice
having sex
distraction
when
before a
he
hand
died.
grabs him from beneath the bed. Jack is killed with an arrow that pierces through his neck from below. It's
Pretty good.
probably the film's most infamous kill, and is excellent, even if these super high-res transfers reveal the slightly off-color prosthetic attached
Yeah,
to Kevin
I-
Bacon's
I-
head. The rest
I
of
noticed
Bacon's
that a
body was
long time
underneath
ago.
the bed, along with Tom Savini and his assistant/friend Tasso Stavrakis, previously seen on the kill count in Day and Dawn of the Dead, films where he also helped Savini do makeup and stunts. While filming this kill, the blood tube's pump broke, so Stavrakis grabbed the hose and blew into into it to save the shot. It caused the big spurt that makes Bacon visibly react and helps cement this kill as legendary. Jack's lover Marcy is the next one to go after some quality underpants time in the mirror. She turns around and sees her attacker, who raises an axe in the air and brings it down right into her face. It might not be as infamous as the arrow through the neck.
I love it.
I love it.
Yeah, I love it.
Savini used one of his favorite
You know, I
tricks
actually
from
would
the
say she had time to
show
run.
the audience that the murder weapon is real before doing the kill with a fake prop.
She gives some power to the real weapon, so when the rubber weapon comes in, it still has that power and weight and strength and of the real axe.
That's why we see the axe bang against the light and make a noise. It makes us feel an impact we never see and disguises the rubber axe affixed to the actor's head.
Beautiful
with
filmmaking.
Wax. Before our virginal final girl Alice can finish unbuttoning her blouse, the Storm kicks in and cancels Strip Monopoly. Damn, what are you, Storm? The horny police? Brenda goes back to her own cabin where she puts on her finest Geppetto nightgown and settles in for a good read. Nothing to distract her from this literature. Except the voice of a crying little boy. Nothing besides that. Brenda heads outside in the pouring rain and winds up at the archery ring.
It's Pamela imitating Jason, and it's so creepy.
Killed off screen by some arrows, but I'm counting her now because we hear her scream, implying that the kill has occurred. Bill and Alice start finding clues that things might not be cool at Crystal Lake. There is one great shot that I think is worth pointing out here. After Alice breaks the window to the office to call the police, the camera tracks over to look at them through the window, then continues tracking over to show that the phone line has been cut. I found that unusually artistic. With their vehicles similarly sabotaged, Alice and Bill are stranded here.
The snake thing pissed me off, but that was good.
That fucking guy. He's been hanging out in a diner as his teenage counselors get slaughtered. He gets back to camp only to be blinded by a light, and it ain't Manfred Mann. It's someone he recognizes.
Oh, hi. What are you doing out in this mess?
Oh, you know, chillin', killin'. Steve Christie's killed with an off-screen gut stab that cuts away faster than a flying machete. The POV killer turns off the camp's
much
lights
more.
through
He
the
really
power
did.
of a fade to black. Bill leaves Alice to a couch nap as he goes to look at the generator, but when she wakes up sometime later, he still hasn't returned. Unbelievably, the movie still drags its feet this far in. We sit there and watch Alice make a pot of coffee, for God's sake. Come on, movie, this isn't suspenseful, it's boring. Can we please liven things up around here?
Yeah.
Thank you. Alice finds Bill's body.
Dude, a fucking
hung on
arrow
door
in
with
the
a bunch
crotch
of
area.
arrows,
You see
stuck
that?
there like a plaid-shirted pincushion. With Alice's scream
I wonder if that
and
was
some
the first shot
Manfredini,
that he
our
got.
first
It was
Friday
a
Final
crotch
Girl
shot.
circuit begins. Kinda. Alice suffers from a boring false start as we sit there and watch her blockade a door with a single 2-minute long shot. It could have been cool if it didn't cut away before Brenda's body flew in through the window. I already counted her earlier, but now we see that she's all roped up, and also that she looked suspiciously Savini-esque when she came in through that window. Alice's race is put on
Savini
hold when
jumps
she
in a
sees
lot.
car pull up. It's time for this movie to get an injection of character.
Well, I'm Mrs.
Best part of the
Voorhees,
movie.
an old friend of the Christies.
There, Alice. Betsy Palmer's here to finally make this movie interesting. You can already tell something's off with Mrs. V from her very first conversation, but she
How she's
keeps
all
up a
happy and
facade of
giddy?
normality just long enough to fool Alice and give Palmer some kick-ass acting to do.
Steve should never have opened this place again. There's been too much trouble here.
Prior to Friday, Betsy Palmer was best
Rest
known
in
as a
peace.
panelist
Rest
on
in
old
peace.
game shows like I've Got a Secret. She wasn't eager to do a horror film, but her agent called her the same week her car broke down. The role paid $10,000, the same price as a Volkswagen Scirocco she wanted.
I
Perfect
need the
timing.
car. Send me the script.
Palmer showed up the
I need the
last
car,
10
send
days
me
of
the script.
shoot, and by all accounts was a lovely and considerate professional. Though she
Oh, yeah.
initially thought very little of the film, she came to appreciate that it kept her relevant late in her career. At this point, Mrs. Voorhees
Congratulations,
drops the act
really,
and
on
reveals
her
the
part.
motivation that
I'm
would
so
launch a
happy to
dozen
hear that, though.
films.
Did you know that a young boy drowned the year before those two others were killed?
If you ever get a script
The
for a horror movie,
counselors
take it.
weren't
Just take it.
paying any
Might be your
attention.
big shot.
They were making love while that young boy drowned.
She says Jason's
His name was
for
Jason.
the first time ever, and reveals that she's his mother, who's been trying to keep the camp closed
I
since
was
then.
working
Thus
that
the
day.
fire and water poisoning
I was
that
cooking
Enos
lunch for
mentioned
the other
earlier.
counselors,
Although all
or
of
the
that is
campers.
cool in retrospect, it's an awful reveal for a movie meant to be a whodunit. The unmet mother of the unmet kid who was one time mentioned to
I
have
like it.
drowned is a pretty impossible thing for any viewer to have guessed. The only reason it works at all
that's
is because
fine,
of
though.
Betsy Palmer.
It's like,
Mrs. Voorhees
fuck
starts
it.
having herself little hallucinations where she hears her son yelling for help.
They
She
kept
promises
mentioning
that
the
she
fact
will
that
help by
Jason
killing
died and the
negligent
little boy
counselors
drowned.
like the ones that let him drown.
And shit was happening all around.
did to him?
Alrighty, yeah, let's get this circus started for real. We've got some back and forth attacks, a dead body discovery, or two, haha, Christine, and, you know, the whole screaming and running around thing. Mrs. Voorhees does her part to make the race special, bringing out the crazy eyes and talking in a creepy little boy voice.
Kill her, Mommy. Kill her. Don't let her get away, Mommy.
So creepy.
I won't.
Gotta say, Betsy, whatever you're paying your dentist, it's not enough. She catches up to Alice for a few rounds of catch, then a game of corner slap around, which saw Palmer actually hitting Adrian King for real.
Yeah. When we hit somebody on stage, we hit somebody.
I hope King didn't pay her a receipt and actually uppercut her cooter with that gun butt there. The chase
I would
goes
have,
on
after
to
getting
include a
smacked like
casual
several
machete
times.
Swipe and a Flynn Rider strike that makes Mrs. Voorhees bleed from her head. Good work, Alice. The long fight between Alice and Mrs. Voorhees, which continues after Alice retreats to the beach, was filmed over 2 nights with fight choreography done by Sabini and Stavrakis. Since production couldn't afford real stunt doubles,
I'm sure they
done by
wanted it
Palmer
to
and
feel
King
real.
Themselves. They really beat the shit out of each other there.
We all did everything ourselves. I mean, what you saw was what we did.
Good thing Pam didn't land that German suplex then. Alice escapes Mrs. Voorhees and grabs her
She
machete
really
off the ground.
bit her in the arm and shit.
Classic kill, she charges at Mrs. Voorhees in slow motion and cuts her head clean off.
That gets the job faster, you know? If you just get it done, just do it.
Those hands
Just do it, make it look
belong to
good.
the bacon blood blower Tasso Stavrakis.
I respect
he had
it.
the foam Mrs. Voorhees head attached to his shoulder with toothpicks so it would come off easily when it was hit with that real machete. Alice walks away the victor and is floating in a canoe the next morning as the cops arrive, promising safety at last. It's a lengthy sequence I enjoy, thanks
And
to Manfredini's
then
score,
one of the
which
best
opens
jump
up to
scares
be
of all
lush and
time.
melodic for the first time in the film. It does a good job getting you nice and relaxed, as does the peaceful lake water.
Then, bam.
And that's when Swampy Boy Jason appears in the so-called chair jumper ending. Another thing lifted from another horror movie, as Cunningham and Miller were ripping off the jump scare ending from Carrie. This first ever depiction of Jason Voorhees was performed by Ari Lehman, a kid actor suggested by producer Steve Miner since he knew him from Manny's Orphans, one of those kid movies he made with Cunningham and Miller. Originally, Cunningham was going to have his own son Noel do it, but his wife ixnayed that and play for him to be Ace and Jay.
Were it not for her, I would have been Jason. I would have been the first Jason, and I'm not bitter.
Yeah, it sucks.
And
I would have told her,
Ari Lehman,
like, why would you do that? Just let them.
Without a wetsuit in New Jersey,
that's a
November
career
lake
right there.
water. But he loved doing it.
Ari
He
Lehman
excitedly discusses it to this
made
day.
a career out of it.
Lively
Yeah.
guy, fun to talk to. The movie ends with Alice waking up in the hospital.
Yeah,
That
he's a really
Jason jump
really
scare
cool
was
guy.
Nothing but a dream. Alice doesn't think so though.
Have an autograph on the wall.
We didn't find any boy.
Then he's still there.
Or is he? No,
that does
he
creep me
definitely
out.
is. We've got 10 more movies ahead to prove it. How many people can a mother's love kill? Well, before I tell you, did you know that there was once a young kitty named Lucy who didn't get pets one day? Oh, the horror movie characters around her were too busy being killed to pet her. What's that, Lucy? What about the numbers? Count them, James. Count them. I will, Lucy. I will.
The numbers.
10 people died in Friday the 13th, but those were make-believe kills, unlike that poor snake. The victims consisted of 5 men and 5 women, a nice even split to kick off this franchise. With a runtime of 95 minutes in the unrated version that I used, that
Poor
left us with a
snake,
kill
rest
on
in peace,
average
rest
every
in peace.
9
That's
and
the
a
biggest
half
crime.
minutes. I'll give the golden chainsaw for coolest kill to Jack. I almost gave it to Mrs. Voorhees, but that kill was done with a fake head.
I would go
The fact
either
that we
with the
watched
axe
Kevin Bacon's
or
face as
that
he
one.
dies is what
I'd go with
gives
the
this
axe
kill
murder.
the edge. Dull Machete for lamest kill will go to Steve Christie. I get making the first 2 kills low-key to catch viewers off guard later,
probably
but by
mine
time
would
we
be
get to
the
Body
one
Oil
guy,
Steve's
but
death,
yeah,
an
his death
off-screen
was
stab
so
doesn't cut it.
disappointing.
And that's it. Friday the 13th came
Yeah.
out in 1980 and made more money than The Shining, which came out 2 weeks later. I think its
crazy.
success was largely because of its marketing, which brings up one more dude critical to this movie's legacy. Frank Mancuso Sr. was a VP at Paramount when he bought the American distribution rights for Friday the 13th. Instead of playing it only in drive-ins and grindhouse theaters, he took the unusual approach of treating this little horror movie like a major motion picture. He opened it on 1,000 screens in mainstream theater chains with a huge marketing campaign targeted towards teens and 20-somethings. He believed in the movie's potential, and it paid off bigly. So much that Paramount asked for another one as soon as the box office reports came.
Hell yeah.
Part 2 would be released less than a year later, and I'll look at that on Friday. But until then, I'm James A. Janice. This has been the Kill Count.
On the next Kill Count. Remember the 90s?
Thank you for shopping.
Oh, cool. He's looking at Fear Street. Nice, nice, man.
Malls were cool when the internet was a
my reactions for the Fear Street movies are on my channel, so.
Well, maybe not that last one. At least not in Shadyside. This small suburban town has a long history of tragedies, while the wealthier neighboring Sunnyvale has seen nothing but success and handsome police chiefs.
That's whack.
Fear Street Part 1, 1994, kicks off a horror trilogy that explores the bloody past.
The first one was released on my birthday,
All these massacres
July
are
2nd.
connected to Sarah Fear.
Was
Pretty
the
cool.
town once cursed by a witch? Or is it something more sinister?
I mean, no one actually thinks that this witch shit is real.
Though Fear Street is based on a series of R.L. Stine books, this is not your sibling's Goosebumps movie.
I love this one.
They're swearing.
Fuck this. Fuck Peter. Fuck Sam. Yeah, fuck her.
Sex.
Did you all go to Pound Town?
And a whole lot of blood.
If you get blood on it, I'll kill you.
Because this movie isn't just referencing slashers, it is one.
Yeah, oh yeah.
Fucking dead.
This weekend, watch Fear Street
Hardcore.
Part 1, 1994, as we explore the series in tandem with Friday the 13th this August. And this Sunday, only 2 days away,
1978, a
tune
lot
into
of Friday.
Dead Meat for the Kill Count.
This internet bullshit is potentially exactly why you have no friends.
Fear Street Part 1, 1994 can currently be watched on the pictured streaming platforms. Dead Meat always recommends you watch the movie for yourself before its kill count. It's the only way to have your own properly informed opinion. Kill count's
I agree.
to replace the experience of watching a film.
Thanks a lot for watching this Kill Recount.
Okay, so that was his recount for Friday the 13th. I agree. That was really fucked up. The snake thing, I did not know that was actually, like, an actual pet to somebody. Like, that was somebody's pet. I thought that was literally a wild snake that they just killed. No, I guess that was legitimately someone's pet that they borrowed and didn't tell him that they were going to kill it. Like, seriously, how fucked up that's fucked up. That's so fucked up. It blew my mind. But anyways, yeah, I actually really dug that. That was a really cool recount for that. I think that I enjoyed that one more than the first video he released. So guys, comment down below. Let me know your thoughts. What would your favorite and least favorite kill of the movie be? Let me know down below. Like this video if you like this type of content. Subscribe to the channel if you're new to the channel. And guys, as always, I will check you guys out in the next video. Please take care, movie friends, and keep it retro.